Michael Wood, thanks so much for your time tonight. Obviously, returning to Chalke Valley, you've been here before. What are your impressions of it coming back again?
Well, I remember it the very first time when it was a cricket pavilion on a little bit of green sward in the valley, and it's just expanded out of all, possibility. We'd never dreamt it would become this big so quickly. Tanks, Spitfires, World War One soldiers. It's amazing today. Yeah.
Well, last year you convinced in the Best Britain debate that Alfred the Great was the best, and indeed you won. Could you perhaps, for the purpose of obviously your talk tonight and your programme, why Alfred the Great is such an important figure?
Yes, I mean, I have a special interest in the Anglo-Saxons, and of course I tend to feel, although I love the Tudors, that we get far too many Tudors on television. And the Anglo-Saxons for me are fascinating because it's it's a dark period in our history. It's an incredibly violent period with a huge disorder, and these guys are trying to build our society, rebuild society from scratch, and fight the Vikings, and they are very far-seeing, far-sighted, far-reaching rulers. And if you were to look at the basic roots of the English state, the English monarchy, our national coinage, towns, English law, the origins of Parliament, all this comes back to the Anglo-Saxons, you see. So, I mean, I'm making the argument really that Henry VIII may be great, but
or Shakespeare, or
no, I wouldn't bring Shakespeare into it. Really, I adore Shakespeare, as you know. I kind of spent a big chunk of my life doing films and books about Shakespeare, but the Anglo-Saxons are the root of everything, and that's why I'm fascinated by them. Really,
I mean, how well documented is someone like Alfred the Great?
Well, Alfred is almost uniquely well documented for somebody that far back, because we've got the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which is a set of annals year by year describing the times, and that's commissioned in his circle, you see. So we've got that. We've got a biography written by somebody who knew him, a scholar who worked in his court, and who helped him do his translations of some of the famous texts that he worked on. And we've also got his translations, which contain his own feelings about rulership. You've actually got Alfred saying, well, to be brief, what I set out to do was to, do the best I can, be a just ruler, leave my memory in good works, and
was
blah, blah, blah.
Was he always inspired to
well, he would never have become king. He was the fifth brother, so there was no thought that he would have become king when he was young. But he was illiterate until middle age, so these are exceptional achievements, I think, in any period. I would argue he's the greatest ruler in British history, but also one of the greatest rulers of all time in any culture, really.
Sure. Well, I was thinking about this earlier, and as you mentioned, you spent a lot of your time on Shakespeare. You've done Alexander the Great, you've done the Trojan War, you've done the Dark Ages. I mean, do you relish sort of jumping from age to age, and is it easy? Or?
Yes, I mean, in a way, you tend to pursue your interests, and I've had a lifetime's interest in British history and English history, which includes literature. I've had a lifetime's interest in Greek, and so those films are a part of that as well, you see. So really, it may look as if it's flying about, but these are the tracks I've pursued in my life, really, I think.
So you've been producing and making video films now for the last 30 years. Does it still excite you making these
Yes, I mean, history is always fascinating. That's the thing. If you love history, as we all do at this festival, you're always come back for more. There's always something new to discover, and the process of discovery is what makes history so fascinating. So yeah. So I mean, some of my friends look at me and say, "God, you've been doing it for a long time. How can you still punish yourself on the road? Sleeping on mountaintops in Afghanistan and Persian railway stations." But I love all that, really.
Fantastic. Well, Michael Wood, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.